Time to talk the Australian Ice Hockey League here on Sports Overnight as we get headlong towards the playoffs. They are the first weekend of September. They will be at the Melbourne Ice House in Docklands, the Medibank Ice House. Joining us on the line though from the Sydney Bears to talk about the season is Brett Nelson Bond. Brett, thanks for taking the call.
No problem at all.
Well, unfortunately you guys are on the bottom of the ladder, but I guess the one benefit that you've got coming towards the end of the season, a few local derbies still left.
Yeah, that's right. We've got one more this weekend against our crosstown rivals, the Ice Dogs. They've had a great turnaround season. I think they had the wooden spoon last year and definitely sort of bounced back this year and shown that they've got a fair bit of fight in their steps. So they're always a tough competitor, but he definitely brings out the best in both teams.
So I guess that gives you guys a positive thoughts for next year that you'll be able to turn it around quickly as well.
Well, look, it's all about developing, and we've got a couple of young kids that are coming through, showing some real promise. So we're really trying to get some ice time this last half of the season now that we're out of the playoffs and sort of develop for next year.
That's an interesting balance because there's a lot of sides obviously with imports, and you've got to find that line between developing younger players but then playing imports to get the effect. How do you look at it now in the last couple of weeks of the season?
It's it's tough losing games, but you sort of got to look at that end goal in mind that. This season we're not in the playoffs, and we've got to make the most of it. And that's developing the future.
Now the last derby match on the weekend just gone was 7-0. How did you assess it?
Mate, it's the Dogs always come out flying in their home barn. It was 5-0 before we even realised. So once we sort of pulled it back together after the first period, they only scored 2 more goals after that. But they're a real tough team to play in their home barn. So. Definitely credit them. They're going to be a tough team in the playoffs.
Tell us a little bit about some of the younger players then that you mentioned there on your side that you are looking to get through to the ranks in the coming seasons.
Sure, okay. Well, I mean, there's a couple that we've been working with a couple of years, Joel McFadden, then you've got Jaden Ryan as well, just coming in this year, Scott Clemmy, Saxon Air, so anywhere between the age of 16 up to 18. Spence Rossman's been a defenseman brought on at 19 years old. Lucas Manco, 18, sitting his HSC. So I would say we probably went from one of the veterans teams 2-3 years ago with players over the age of sort of 30 to 35 to 40. And now we've probably got most of our team is majority under 25. So it's a big change and a big turnover of veteran players.
Would it be the youngest team in the league, Brett?
We're close to the Mustangs, but... Yeah, it's definitely been a big change. I mean, I've been on the team for quite a few years, and I sort of was one of the younger kids coming through with quite an older team. And then now somehow I'm one of the older players, and everyone's younger than me, and it's only taken a few years to do that.
Brett Nelson Bond is with us from the Sydney Bears and the Australian Ice Hockey League. It's getting towards the final series. Unfortunately, the Bears won't be there, but some great matches still to come. Their home rink out at Penrith. They take on the Ice Dogs in another derby coming up this weekend. theaihl.com for further details. Brett, can you tell us a little bit about how you've assessed the development of the league? You've been involved in the sport now for 12 years at this level in Australia. How have you seen it change?
Well, I mean, it's definitely gone in leaps and bounds. And I think this year has been a definite improvement from the last. Every year it gets tougher. We get better players, more fans, more sponsors, so the league is definitely going in the right direction. And I think it'll just hit critical mass and really take off.
Tell us about the development of, I guess, the club and the teams you've met. We've got a new team this year, sort of the Melbourne Mustangs. You mentioned sort of the new sides coming into it. How do you view sort of the expansion of the league?
It's it's a very fine balancing act, I think, of being a non-professional or semi-professional league. That we all have jobs, so to play a 28-game season and to turn up to work on Monday is going to get quite difficult. So I think it will hit that point where there are enough sponsors where players can sort of substitute some of their working lifestyle to actually play the game and play it in the best capacity that they can. So the league is definitely going in the right direction, and it's been a privilege to be part of it for the last 10 years and watch it grow from a local derby where it was sort of just Blacktown, the original Ice Dogs team with Blacktown, the Bears in Canberra was sort of the original league that I started and then expanded out to Adelaide. Then Melbourne came on board, and then the Gold Coast. Brisbane back then, and now we've got another team in Melbourne, Perth looking to come into New Zealand. So in 10 years, there's been a lot of change.
The Melbourne Ice, top of the table. Do you think they'll win the competition now? And if it's not them, who will?
Look, I've got my bets on Melbourne just because they've been the most consistent team all year. And they've definitely got depth, and that's the real difference between, I think, them and most other teams, is they've got two solid lines that they can roll all night and throw in a third line that's very consistent as well. Playing in their home barn, they're going to have their home fans, so they're going to be a very tough team to beat.
Brett, we wish the side best of luck for the final few games this year. Good luck pushing on with those youngsters. We'll chat again soon. Thanks so much for joining us.
Anytime.
Brett Nelson-Bond from the Sydney Bears and the Australian Ice Hockey League. Unfortunately, going to finish at the end of the year towards the bottom of the ladder, but it looks like they've got a good young roster heading for the future. The finals for the competition get underway in the first weekend of September.